I'd only ever seen parts of this creature before, so I assumed by the size of the ears alone that it was a much larger sort of mutant bat. And don't get me wrong, they are big. They have nothing to do with bats at all. Bats stay as far away from these things as they possibly can, for a very good reason. The Destrachan presents a truly unsettling visage, and like most creatures that are deep in sunless places, the light of day reveals all too much of their horrific features to the eye. I would go so far as to call them loathsome. Their flesh is pale, their stink is a miasma, and I think if they ever did have eyes, if they suddenly could see each other now, and how they appear, they would never breed and go extinct within a generation. Holding a pouch of herbs to my rather sensitive nose, I walked around the thing, laying on its side in the laboratory of the sage I was visiting, whose identity shall remain a secret at their request, though I can say that the ogre scholar Little One was present just in case, and because he actually had some experience with this type of monster. The identity of the sage will be revealed to any who read the annual Candlekeep volume for the year 1492 of the Dale Reckoning, as their essay that year was why the Destrachan had been transported at great expense all the way from Skullport, far below the city of Waterdeep. I was invited for my skills, yes, but also for my proficiency with a bunch of spells from the Abjuration School of Magic I was particularly good at. Thankfully, the thing was quite dead, and all I cast that day was the summoning of an unseen servant to assist in the surgical exploration of the monster. A bipedal creature about 10 feet long, from its featureless head to the tip of its tail, its posture and form have drawn comparisons to kangaroos, or a monstrous fusion of a hound and a dinosaur. I think it looks like a pangolin. Despite its size, often classified as large, its most defining characteristics are tied to its senses and its primary weapon. The Destrachan's head is disturbingly devoid of eyes. Instead, it's dominated by a large circular, tubular mouth, the source of its devastating sonic power. Where its eyes would be, it possesses a pair of incredibly complex three-part ears, sometimes described as frilled. These aren't just for hearing, they grant the creature an extraordinary form of perception. Using its hypersensitive ears, the Destrachan navigates. It hunts and targets its prey with astonishing precision. Even in complete darkness, it's often described as blind sight or a form of highly advanced echolocation. Arguably more precise than conventional vision, it can adjust the sensitivity of its ears to pinpoint targets or defend against sonic assaults. This lack of eyes also grants immunity to gaze attacks. While primarily relying on sound, the Destrachan possesses physical capabilities. Its forelimbs end in sharp, three-fingered claws. These are typically used as a last resort in combat or for climbing. Its hide is often described as scaly or reptilian. Despite its bulk, estimated around 4,000 pounds in some accounts, it can move with surprising agility in its subterranean environment. According to lore, particularly from the Forgotten Realms setting, Destrachans are not native creatures of the material plane. They're classified as aberrations, believed to originate from the Far Realm, a plane of madness, chaos, and alien energies. It's theorized that seepage of these energies into the material plane mutated existing subterranean fauna or directly spawned these sonic nightmares. These creatures thrive in darkness and enclosed spaces where sound propagates effectively. They're commonly found deep underground in cavern complexes, abandoned mines, ruined dwarven cities, and most notoriously, the Underdark as a whole. Their ability to shatter rock with sound allows them to tunnel and create lairs. Destrachans are typically solitary hunters, only coming together briefly to mate. While distrustful, they have an affinity for other aberrations and may sometimes be found in the company of chouls, gibbering mouthers, gricks, and foulspawn. They have been also known to form uneasy alliances or work alongside other Underdark denizens such as drow, grimlocks, hags, medusas, trolls, oni, and troglodytes. In the Forgotten Realms, post-Spell Plague lore linked them to the Plague-changed creatures, undead, factions like the Order of the Blue Flame, and even the Abolithic Sovereignty. The Destrachan's most feared ability is its power to project devastating sonic energy from its tubular maw, known as the Destructive Harmonics. This attack can manifest as a cone, often up to 80 feet long, or a burst centered on the creature, often a 30-foot radius around it, which makes this truly terrifying as the creature's precise control over the frequency. The distraction can tune these harmonics to selectively affect different targets from within the blast area. So it can affecting flesh or bone by focusing its sonic vibrations can cause direct physical trauma, rupturing tissues and shattering bone. This typically manifests as a significant sonic damage. For example, it's 46 damage in 3rd edition. The distraction can target specific inanimate material like wood, stone, metal, or glass. Objects made primarily of the chosen material within the area must make a saving throw or be shattered. This allows it to destroy weapons, sunder armor, break down doors, and even tunnel through walls. A different frequency can overwhelm the nervous system, causing intense pain and potentially knocking creatures unconscious through non-lethal damage. For example, 66 non-lethal damage in 3rd edition. Some versions, like Pathfinder, specify effects like stunning or deafening. Did I mention they hang out with chulls who will drag you into the water and drown you and keep you paralyzed with their tentacles? Not a nice combination. Distractions leverage their abilities with cunning intelligence. They often initiate combat from surprise, taking advantage of dark environments where their blind side excels, of course. Though intelligent, often noted with an intelligence score comparable to a clever humanoid, distractions can't speak conventional languages. They typically understand common, sometimes undercommon, but communicate amongst themselves using a complex language of clicks, shrieks, whistles, and precisely modulated sonic tones, a language nearly impossible for other creatures to replicate. Their communication of intent to others primarily through their actions. A common tactic is first to use material-shattering harmonics to destroy or damage opponents' metal armor and weapons, effectively disarming and weakening them. Once defenses are compromised, they switch frequencies to target flesh or nerves to inflict harm or incapacitate foes. They seem to derive pleasure or satisfaction from the suffering and death of their prey. Some interpret it metaphorically, others suggest it may imply an aberrant ability to draw psychic or life energies from anguish. Regardless of the exact mechanism, it highlights the alien cruelty beyond simple predatory hunger. Their intelligence is primarily directed towards predation, survival, and sadistic cruelty, rather than complex societal structures or abstract thought. Distractions are primarily solitary hunters. They only form temporary packs opportunistically, typically when facing exceptionally large or dangerous prey, and when drawn together by a significantly large source of carrion. Pack hunting demonstrates their pragmatic intelligence, but their natural inclination is to operate alone, partly due to the risk of their sonic attacks harming their allies. They generally avoid melee, relying on their potent ranged sonic attacks. The claws are considered weapons of last resort, as I mentioned, used to finish off severely weakened enemies or if cornered. Despite being large creatures in some editions, their claws' reach might be surprisingly short, even 5 feet in Pathfinder 1st edition. Naturally, creatures wielding such powerful sonic abilities possess defenses against sound. Distractions typically have resistance or immunity to sonic or thunder damage, including their own harmonics, and often receive bonuses on saving throws against sonic attacks. Their blindness makes them immune to visual effects like gaze attacks, of course. And the distraction has appeared in several editions of Dungeons & Dragons and its successor, Pathfinder, evolving slightly with each iteration. Based on ecological notes from earlier editions, specifically unpublished 3rd and 3.5 edition material, distractions are oviparous, meaning they lay eggs, and a female produces a small clutch, typically consisting of 3 to 5 leathery eggs. She carefully deposits these in secluded, hard-to-reach locations like dead-end caverns or deep fissures, minimizing the risk of disturbance or predation. The eggs incubate slowly in the ambient temperatures of the underground environment. Upon hatching, the young distractions are physically weak and highly vulnerable. For the first 3 years of their lives, they remain under the care of their mother, who provides food and protection. The early life of distraction can be brutal. In a stark display of survival adaptation, the last hatchling to emerge from its egg often becomes a source of food for its stronger siblings or even the mother. This grim practice likely ensures that resources are directed towards the offspring with the best chances of survival in a harsh environment. And furthermore, if faced with a significant threat, a mother distraction may prioritize her own survival and abandon her eggs or young. After the initial 3-year period of maternal care, the young Destrachans are sufficiently developed to fend for themselves. They leave their mother's protection and adopt the solitary, predatory lifestyle characteristic of their species. Adults grow to impressive sizes, potentially reaching 10 feet in length and weighing up to 4,000 pounds. They develop complex 3-lobed ear structures, crucial for their echolocation and precise sonic manipulation, using powerful vocal blasts to establish territory and hunt. The Destrachan made its debut in the Monster Manuals 2 for D&D 3.0 and later included in the system reference document SRD for D&D 3.5. Authors credited for the 3.5 edition include Jonathan Tweet, Monty Cook, Skip Williams, Rich Baker, Andy Collins, David Noonan, Rich Redmond, Bruce R. Cordell, John D. Ratcliffe, Thomas Reed, and James Wyatt. Based on original D&D material. In this era, it was established as a CR7 aberration with its iconic destructive harmonics ability clearly defined, with modes for flesh doing 46 damage, nerves doing 66 non-lethal, and material doing the shatter effect, same as the spell. It's highly intelligent, intelligence of 14, with blind sight originally described like sonar and combat tactics that were codified here. Considered mainstream enough for inclusion in the core monster manual, and the 4th edition Destrachan was classified as a level 9 artillery monster. Its abilities were adapted to 4th edition's combat roles and mechanics. Key powers included the sonic pulse, a ranged attack that could push targets back, and a bellowing blast, an area attack causing damage and the dazed condition in targets. It retained blind sight and gained thunder resistance and climb speed. An elite variant, the Destrachan Far Voice, also existed. Lore notes mentioned they sometimes mimicked sounds, gaining proficiency in the bluff skill. Paizo Incorporated adapted the Destrachan for the Pathfinder RPG, which built upon the 3.5 edition rule set version. Appearing in Bestiary 2 for the Pathfinder 1st edition as a CR8 aberration, it's maintained its core concepts, and stats and abilities were updated for the Pathfinder system, featuring 100-foot blind sight, which is quite impressive, specific saving throw DCs for its harmonics, and effects like stun or deafen for its nerve targeting attack. Object shattering rules were detailed according to Pathfinder's mechanics. And the Destrachan persists in Pathfinder's 2nd edition, found in the resources like the Archives of Nethys. Its mechanics are adapted to the 3-action economy now, with abilities like Sonic Evisceration and Resonant Earth Shatter. It retains its intelligence and its ability to understand languages, with lore noting that it can potentially be reasoned with, though its own complex sonic language is nearly impossible for others to speak. As of April 2025, the Destrachan has not been officially published in any core Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition monster book, like the Monster Manual, Volo's Guide, or Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, or Monsters of the Multiverse. Its absence has led some to label it as forgotten or extinct monster for the current edition. However, its popularity means it frequently appears in fan-created homebrew content found on platforms like the D&D Wiki, Reddit, and the Dungeon Masters Guild, where creators adapt its classic abilities to 5th edition mechanics, often keeping it around CR7 or so. And that's about all there is to know about the Destrachan. Kill your players with an encounter featuring them at your next opportunity and tell them I said hi. My name is AJ Pickett, your professional sage and host with the most. Like the video if you love monsters, share to your weirdest friends. Sweet dreams to those listening to this as a sleep aid, and as always, I'll be back with more for you very soon.